I would like to call the special meeting of the City Council to order. Deputy City Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Martin, Councilmember Mora, Councilmember Sarno,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Zamora,
Here.
and Mayor Rodriguez.
Here. Thank you. Public comments are now open. Anyone joining us through Zoom can use the raise hand function if you wish to make a public comment on closed session items only. The Deputy City Clerk will see if you have raised your hand through the Zoom application. For those that are here to make a public comment in person, you will have an opportunity once the Deputy City Clerk announces your name. You will have 3 minutes to speak. Deputy City Clerk, do we have any members of the public that wish to speak today?
Madam Mayor, we have no persons wishing to speak in person or via Zoom.
I will now close public comments. Closed session items numbers 4, 5, and 6. I would like to call upon the city attorney to read the closed session items.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council. Number 4 is public employment, Government Code Section 54957B1, title City Manager Evaluation. Number 5 is conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9D1. The name of the case is City of Santa Fe Springs versus SFS Hospitality LLC, case number 20STCV33264. And number 6 is conference with labor negotiators, Government Code Section 54957.6, agency designated representatives, Raymond R. Cruz, Travis Hickey, employee organizations, Santa Fe Springs City Employee Association, Santa Fe Springs Firefighters Association, and Santa Fe Springs Executive Management and Confidential Employee Association.
Thank you. We will now recess to closed session. We will reconvene the meeting after closed session to hear a report from closed session and to adjourn the meeting. Good evening. I would like to reconvene the meeting. City Attorney, is there a closed session report?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council, members of the audience. We did have a special meeting at 5 o'clock and we heard 3 closed session items. We concluded item number 5, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation. Direction was given to staff and no reportable action was taken. And items 4 and 6 were not concluded and will occur at the end of the regular meeting. I'll read those titles then. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to adjourn the meeting. Now I would like to call the regular meetings of the Public Finance Authority, Water Utility Authority, Housing Successor, Successor Agency, and City Council to order. Deputy City Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Martin. Councilmember Mora.
Here.
Councilmember Sarno.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Zamora.
Here.
And Mayor Rodriguez.
Here.
Members of the Public Financing Authority and Water Utility Authority receive $150 for their attendance at these meetings.
Thank you. I would like to call upon Councilmember Sarno to give the invocation.
Please rise. Our Heavenly Father, we give thanks tonight for the privilege of meeting together to deliberate on matters affecting our city. We ask for your guidance in our efforts to work for a betterment of our community. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. And now I would like to call upon Youth Leadership Committee member Aaron Doss to lead in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
And Aaron, would you come up and let us know what your hobbies are, what school you go to, and any sports that you're in?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. My name is Aaron Doss, and I'm currently attending Santa Fe High School as a senior. I participate in golf at my high school, and one of my favorite hobbies is spending time with my dad, watching sports shows or watching movies. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we are doing presentations, milestone recognition. I would like to call on Public Information Officer Raylene Barraza.
Good evening, Mayor Rodriguez and members of the City Council. Residents celebrating a significant milestone are invited to contact the city so we can learn about their significant life event and recognize them. It is a pleasure to speak to our residents that call our office to share their stories, and always rewarding to hear how living in the city of Santa Fe Springs has created such cherished memories throughout their lives. This evening, we are pleased to share in the celebration of a special anniversary milestone. At the end of the presentation, I would like to invite the family members in attendance to join in the photo that will be taken with the City Council. I would now like to invite Enrique and Mary Arias to join the council up at the dais. On November 24th, Enrique and Mary will be celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary. Enrique and Mary met in Stockton, California. Enrique's brother was actually married to Mary's sister, and that is how they first met. Enrique and Mary started dating when he was 18 and she was only 16. Since Mary was still in high school, Enrique would always drive to pick her up from school. Mr. and Mrs. Arias did date for a long time because Mr. Arias enlisted in the Army, and they eventually married in their early 20s. They first lived together in Lincoln Heights, and Mr. Arias had a business in San Fernando where he made carpets, and Mary helped him at his business. She would comb the yarn for the carpets to make it easier for Mr. Arias to put in the needles. They later moved to the city of Santa Fe Springs in 1972. Mr. and Mrs. Arias bought their first home on Maidstone and lived there for 9 years. Then they purchased their second home in the city off of Clarkman, and that is where they have lived together ever since. Mary recalls when she first moved to the city of Santa Fe Springs that there were a lot of oil wells and refineries. She described the city as being open and not too crowded, and she emphasized that the city was very clean. Mary loved that in this community, everything was within a close distance from City Hall to the local market. Mrs. Arias also worked for the Bal Brands Food Inc. that made potato chips here in Santa Fe Springs, and she worked there for 26 years until they closed. Mr. and Mrs. Arias have 3 daughters, Rosemary, Juliet, and Teresa. They are the proud grandparents of 3 grandsons, Daniel, Frankie, and Dominic, and 1 granddaughter, Cameron. They are also very excited to announce that they will be expecting their first great-granddaughter in January. Mr. and Mrs. Arias have enjoyed spending their time with family and traveling. They would go back to Stockton often to visit with their family. I asked Mrs. Arias to share her secret to a long-lasting marriage, and she has a couple of tips. She said, "Don't ever argue about money. When he needs it, I'll give it, and it goes the same vice versa." She also said to never go to bed mad at each other and to always make decisions together. Mr. and Mrs. Arias, the city wishes you a happy diamond wedding anniversary. May you both be blessed with many more beautiful years of marriage.
Can I have the Women's Club come to the dais, please? Ladies? Women's Club, can you hold on, please? I'm so sorry. We want the family to come up for a picture. I'm sorry, ladies. She can. Okay, ladies, come on up.
You guys can move over here. Where do you want to?
Okay, this is our Santa Fe Springs Women's Club, and we had a meeting today. And I just wanted to say Mary Arias is one of the most loyal, loved, and adorable member of the Women's Club that we've had for 22 years. She's been a Women's Club member for 22 years. We've spent hours and hours, all of us have spent time together, and she and Enrique are the cutest couple ever. They have so much respect for each other. They have so much love for each other. And I just can't thank them enough for allowing me to come into their home and be a part of their family. And I know that all of our women's clubs standing here today feels the same way, Mary. You have given us so much and we are so grateful to have you. And for that, we would like to give you your bouquet of flowers from our women's club. Peggy, can you give this to her? It's for you too, Enrique. And where would flowers be without sweets for our sweets? So we would like to give this to Mary and Enrique. Yeah, we know that. We know that. He's Mary. Oh, I already know he is. Yes. Not everybody needs to know though. Okay, so I'm going to go down with my women's club and take a picture because I am so proud to call all these ladies my friends. Although some of them are very spunky, they still are adorable. Love them all. Okay, hold on a minute. Okay, we have another presentation. All right, and that is the introduction of promoted Santa Fe Springs Department of Fire Rescue Battalion Chief. I would like to call on Battalion Chief Chad Van Meteren.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council. I'm pleased to present our newest Battalion Chief, Chris Shields, this evening. Chris, if you could please stand up. I'd like to tell you a little bit about Chris. Chris lives in Menifee with his wife of 23 years, Michelle, and his three daughters, Isabella, Gabriella, and Sophia. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here with us this evening. They had cheer, I believe. Yep. Chris has been in the fire service for approximately 20 years, 15 of those with the city of Santa Fe Springs. For the city, he worked for about 5 years as a firefighter, 5 years as an engineer, 5 years as a captain, and now promoted to battalion chief. We hope he sticks around for a little longer than 5 years in this position. So for the last 5 years, Chris has served as our hazardous materials program coordinator, where he's overseen our type 1 state hazmat team. He's also been involved in the development of our standard operating procedures, which helps keeps our personnel safe. Chris is currently attending college, where he is about to complete his bachelor's degree in fire service administration. With that, I'd like to invite Chris up to the podium to say a few words.
I'd just like to say thank you for the opportunity to serve in a managerial spot as a battalion chief for this great city. I came here looking to be part of a city that was more like family. And you guys are, sorry, I get choked up. I love this city, and I look forward to serving for way more than 5 years. That's it.
Thank you and welcome back. All right, we're on item number 6, public comments. Public comments are now open. Anyone joining us through Zoom can use the raise hand function if you wish to make a public comment on any item on the agenda or not on the agenda. The deputy city clerk will see if you have raised your hand through the Zoom application. For those that are here to make a public comment in person, you will have an opportunity once the deputy city clerk announces your name. You will have 3 minutes to speak. Deputy City Clerk, do we have any members of the public that wish to speak today?
Madam Mayor, we have 2 people wishing to speak. The first one is Bruce Crow.
Good evening, Council. Bruce Crow from Downey. I'm back. The first time I was here was last meeting when we were inquiring about the Central Basin Municipal Water District and the activities that go on in that district and how we were not being informed as ratepayers in our city of what goes on because we've had an assistant city manager involved in the Central Basin. And he left our city under some precarious circumstances, I'll say the least. But his name is John Osqui. Some people call him Ascui, but I think it's pronounced Osqui. He was appointed on the board and he has done some things that were not very becoming of a Downey administrative official. His association with also the attorney from a group called OMLO, some call it OMLO, is headed by a gentleman named Oliveras, and their activities as far as attacking other board members on the Central Basin needs to be looked into, and we can't get any information about any of this stuff. We don't know how the corruption, I'm going to say corruption because Christina Garcia, our assembly woman, tried to reform it, and this is about 6 years ago. And she was thwarted. And we would like to have some information from the city of Santa Fe Springs because we're all involved in the Central Basin. And we understand after the call that came in last week, lavishing praise on Mr. Negretti, who is not here tonight. I don't know Mr. Negretti, but it was given us the information that he cleaned up the water basin. He was such a pillar of virtue that he turned it completely around for the last 6 years of all the stuff that's been going on, but we can't get any information. And if you could please get some information, detailed information about the indictments, about the law cases that are going on there, we would like to know some of this information, and the residents deserve to know since they are ratepayers. We would like to know how he fixed the water meter charge. That would be interesting to know because we can't get any information from our council at all. None. But if Mr. Negretti fixed it all, it would be a great story to bring out publicly and then pass that information on to the residents of Downey. We'd great.
Next up, we have Stella Bastida.
Hello, good evening. I'm back here again to speak about the traffic issue on Oranday Road, Pioneer Boulevard, because something that I noticed 2 weeks ago when Mr. Zamora was trying to leave Terradale to get onto Pioneer Boulevard, he was almost hit by 2 cars that were coming up Pioneer Boulevard. So I thought, if a sitting city council member can't even cross the street in his car, drive it across safely, what is that saying for the rest of our residents? So again, this is an ongoing issue. And since our the last time I was here and everyone spoke and decided to go with a study, I've not seen anyone out there. And I go through that street several times, multiple times a day, all times throughout the day. And I'm just wondering, when is this study going to happen? Because as we're now going into the school vacation period where there's not going to be that traffic, that school traffic, how is that going to be real-time results, real-time studying with the traffic pattern? Because this is an ongoing issue. These speed meters that they have posted, no one adheres to that. No one pays attention. It's basically the drivers are thumbing their finger at those signs. And every now and then we do see Whittier out there pulling up someone over, giving them a traffic ticket. But again, it's all about the safety of our residents. It's a safety. We deserve to have safe streets. And I'm just asking again, coming back, when are those studies going to be conducted? And again, in real time, when, for example, Mr. Zamora is trying to get to work and he couldn't even cross because 2 cars almost hit him. And how I know that is because I was right behind him trying to cross to the other side. So this is something that is really, it needs to be looked at. It needs to be taken seriously, because the next time, what if there is an accident? And what if the state finds, the city finds that there were no guidelines, the city did not meet the guidelines of the state, and there's a severe accident? Well, the city's now going to be held liable because they know what everyone knows, that that is a problem. That area of Pioneer Orange Boulevard, there's a problem. So are we going to sacrifice a lawsuit against the city or sacrifice the safety of residents? So that's basically what I came here to say. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, that concludes our speakers.
Thank you. All right, I will now close public comments and move on to the next item. Item number 7, Public Financing Authority agenda. We have 2 consent items. Is there a motion for the approval of item number 7A and 7B?
I'll move 7A, 7B.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So ordered. Item number 8, Water Utility Authority agenda. We have 3 consent items. Is there a motion for the approval of items number 8A through 8C?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So ordered. Item number 9, Housing Successor Agenda. We have 1 consent item. Is there a motion for the approval of item number 9?
I'll move. I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So ordered. Item number 10, Successor Agency Agenda. We have 1 consent item. Is there a motion for the approval of item number 10?
I'll move.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So ordered. Item number 11, City Council Agenda. We have 7 consent items A through G. Is there a motion for the approval of the City Council Consent Agenda?
I'll move. Second.
All those in favor, say aye. Those opposed? So ordered. Home Improvement Grant Program, Award of Contract. I would like to call on Municipal Affairs Manager Maribel Garcia.
Good evening, Mayor and honorable council members. Oh. Okay. Right, there we go. At a previous council meeting earlier this year, our city council authorized the allocation of $104,000 for the establishment of our home improvement grant program. And this is funding that we received for fiscal year 22-23 under the city's community development grant agreement with the county. This program provides financial assistance in the form of a grant of up to a maximum of $5,000 to families from low to moderate income households for the rehab of their owner-occupied single-family dwelling, including mobile homes, condos, townhomes, and 1 to 4 rental units. Again, the funding for this program came from the city's participation in the Los Angeles Urban Community Development Block Grant Program. These funds can be utilized for any proposed CDBG project that meets one of the following 3 national objectives. One is they benefit low and moderate income persons, elimination of slums or blight, And 3, they meet an urgent need. Originally, we allocated for fiscal year 22-23 a funding amount of $104,000, and that again is for the home improvement program. Subsequently, we increased that amount by an additional $50,000 from monies that we had in our revolving grant account from previous years. The grant amount for residents to apply has also been increased from $5,000 to $8,000. So the total monies available for the home improvement grant program is now $154,000, and 20% of that is allocated towards the administrative costs. And in front of you, you have a list of the eligible uses of the CDBG funds. They list their items so that you have them by interior, exterior repairs. For example, they can do, if their home needs to redo their stucco, that is an eligible item. ADA compliant ramps, handrails, and bathroom fixtures, roofing repairs. So in front of you, you can see what is eligible. And here it continues. And here's another list of what is ineligible. So you can see here items that are ineligible. So all this stuff that has to be, that is requested of residents is something that is needed, not a luxury. It has to be something that is needed. So what we did is we had to go out for an RFP process to find a consultant to assist the city with this program. So on September 26th, we sent out an RFP to 13 consultant firms seeking their proposals to assist us in managing the program. The deadline.
Go ahead, speak.
Okay, there we go. The program deadline was October 11th, and we only received one proposal from Wildan Engineering. Through the county, that did not suffice, so they asked us to go out and resubmit the proposal for an additional 3 weeks. So we went ahead and did that. And again, at the deadline that was November 9th, we again only had Wildan Engineering that submitted a proposal. So now we come to you to show you that Wildan was the only proposal received. And Wildan Engineering, I'm sure you're familiar with them. They've assisted the city with multiple projects for our Public Works Department. With that, they've also assisted cities with similar projects to ours. They're neighboring cities. For example, they assist Arcadia, Anaheim, Baldwin Park, Montebello, La Mirada. So if we have any questions, we can also reach out to their cities to see how they're doing. Well, actually, we did, and they all gave them great reviews. And now what I have for you, I just want to ask if you can please accept the proposal and award the contract to Wildan Engineering. So with that, if you have any questions.
I just have one question. I just have one. It's low to moderate income, correct?
Correct.
So if a person has a rental house, would that still fall?
It has to be owner occupied.
Owner occupied?
Yeah.
Okay.
So even if you have a 1 to 4 unit rental, the owner must live in one of those.
Thank you.
Who's gonna be doing all the paperwork, everything, or is it gonna be put out?
Wildan.
I would say, but when they come in, everything's gonna be here at City Hall? Is it gonna be?
We will have it here, but so if we award the contract, then I'm setting up a meeting with Wildan so we can go on to discuss the next steps. But they will be responsible for the application, also going out to solicit, and we put stuff out on the city's social media pages. I'm working closely with the social services, Yvonne in particular. She already has a list of interested residents. And the applications will be online as well as they could come and pick them up in person. And it'll be on a first come, first served basis.
You know, first of all, thank you for putting all this together. This is awesome. It's going to benefit a lot of our residents. Here's one question. Out of the 13, why only one? Did they give a reason why the ones didn't respond to
Yes.
the offer?
So another criteria that the county requested is that we have to reach out to the other 12 agencies that did not submit the proposal. And we had to ask them the reason, and their reason was that they just don't have enough staff or they have too many projects to handle.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just think it's a great program, and I just want to make it clear that you said the applications are going to go out in mid-December for the residents, and we're going to have more instructions on where the residents can pick this stuff up and all the requirements involved in it.
That's correct. So once if we decide to go with Wilden, then we'll set up a meeting to see how quickly we can move on with the process. But because they already do this program with various other cities, everything is there, just be a matter of just changing it to reflect our city's name.
Okay. Are there any other questions? All right, can we make a motion for the approval of item number 12?
I'll move.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So ordered. Item number 13, fiscal year 2021, 2022 preliminary year-end review. I would like to call on Director of Finance, Travis Hickey.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I'm happy to present tonight a preliminary look at the results for fiscal year 21-22. Thank you, Jeff. Okay, so similar with last year, we had favorable results across the board, both for revenues and expenditures. In our general fund, the overall revenue is about 7.6 million or 11.5% higher than anticipated, really driven by our sales tax and Measure Y. The general fund expenditures were just under 4 million under budget or 6.8% less than budget. In the water fund, our water revenues were only 1.2% higher than anticipated, but still above budget. The expenditures a bit more at 2.2 million under budget or 14.1%. So if we look at a little bit more in the details, this is our general fund revenues. Again, $7.6 million over budget, 11.5%. The top two lines is our sales tax and transactions and use tax, or what we call Measure Y. Both of those healthy dollar amounts over budget. When we went through the budget process, we were somewhat conservative, our second year in the pandemic. And so our budget was a bit conservative, but our actual results were definitely much better than anticipated. And so we're fortunate to be a city that has a large industrial base and really didn't suffer the impacts that other agencies did as a result of the ongoing COVID pandemic. So would draw your attention to that bottom line, the use of money and property. We reflect a negative 800,000. This is primarily driven by a market value adjustment to the city's investment portfolio. So between the decline in the stock market and the increasing yields in our investment portfolio, we actually have unrealized losses. So on paper, it looks like we've lost money in those investments. However, we don't. They continue to pay interest. When we look at the actual interest and actual other monies that came in, it was more like over 4 million to the positive. So, but based on accounting rules, we need to report it this way. So that did drag down our results a bit. But even with that, we're still looking at 74.1 million in revenues overall. And again, 7.6 million over budget. On the expenditure side, really consistent with previous years, the departments have done a really good job of staying within their budgeted numbers. There's some variations in terms of percentages, but across the board, every single department in the city and every division within Public Works and Community Services individually stayed within their budget. Again, that bottom line number, the overhead recovery, that's a percentage that we charge to other activities in the city. And because we have savings built into those categories, then we don't recover as much as we budget. So that one's kind of typical to see that negative variance there. But again, overall, 53.6 million in expenditures, 3.9 million less than budget, or 6.8%. So just kind of looking at that all together, that first column on the left is our mid-year budget figures. We had budgeted about 4.4 million. For our surplus, the actual number is coming in about 16.6 million. So that's that 74.1 million in revenues minus the 57.5 million in the operating expenditures, as well as our vehicles, transfers, and other non-recurring costs. So in terms of what we're recommending to use that 16.6 million for, we're recommending 8 million to be set aside in our unfunded liability reserve for ultimate deposit into the California Employee Pension Pre-Funding Trust operated by CalPERS. We're recommending 6 million to be set aside as an additional deposit into the Capital Improvement Fund, an additional $1 million to be set aside into our Equipment Replacement Fund, with the balance of 1.6 million to be set aside into the General Fund's Economic Contingency Reserve. I have had conversations with council members, and I'm sure many of the colleagues and others in the city are tired of hearing me talk about the unfunded liability, but I really think it deserves some attention. And obviously, in terms of recommending to set aside nearly 50% of the surplus warrants a little bit deeper discussion in terms of our unfunded liability. So a couple of slides here. There's a lot going on with this one, but we'll just draw your attention kind of to that right-hand column. That upper set of figures is the results from CalPERS's results from the year ended 6/30/21. And when you see in that total column off to the right, the 28,810,000, that was the gain that the city realized because PERS had a 21.3% return on their investments for that year. And so the city's unfunded liability actually went down 28.8 million. Well, fast forward to 6/30/22, that second box, and off to the right, that $37.056 million number, that's our projected loss for 6/30/22. And that was based on a 6.1% loss in the PERS fund. So they target a 6.8% increase. We lost 6.1%. So that's equivalent to losing 12.9%. So while we did gain 28.8 million the year before, we basically gave it all back and then some with the 37.1 million with a net loss of about 8.2 million. And so I think by setting aside this 8 million here really helps us to at least keep even with our liability and not allow it to grow even larger. This is a chart kind of showing the effect of those gains and losses. The blue line is kind of where we were at as of 6/30/20. So it's basically a chart of our annual costs. So off to the left there, it starts out at 2021. So we're right at about $12 million annual contribution to PERS. The green line represents what our contributions would have looked like had we had just those gains from 2021. The red line shows what our contributions will look like now with the losses from 2022. So that red dotted line, the peak there about 2032, we're going to see about $16 million in annual contributions, or about $4 million than what we're paying currently. So again, that recommendation to set aside that 8 million will help to stabilize those contributions and bring down that peak to a more manageable level. And lastly on this issue is this chart here, which I thought was really important to show. This is a chart that shows by color how well funded the different agencies' pensions are within CalPERS. And so from the darker green being 100% funded and the red being less than 60% funded. And at the bottom are the percentages of the city's plans. So at 6/30/20, we were at 61% funded or 60.9% funded. With the gains last year, we added almost 10%, 69.5%, but now we're back down to 61%. And when you look at where that falls within this chart, I mean, we're in the bottom 200 plans in terms of funding percentage in the state out of over 4,000 plans. So while we're doing very well with our revenues and expenditures, we really need to attack this issue with our unfunded liability. And so again, the average plan, the number above there, 70.6 up to 81 and now down to 72. That's kind of the average funded status for plans in CalPERS, and making this deposit will go a long way to helping us get into a better funded status. Shifting over to the water fund, as I mentioned, our revenues were basically on budget, only 188,000 over budget, but a 1.2% positive variance. And so won't spend too much time on that. On the expenditures, again, some good savings there. We did increase the budget for our purchases account as part of the mid-year, but did still come in under budget by about $400,000. Overall expenditures, 13.5 million or 2.2% under budget. With the 200,000 positive on revenues, 2.2 million positive on expenditures puts us at 2.4 million positive for the year. And given the capital needs of the water fund, we'd recommend setting aside all 2.4 million in the CIP reserve for water. As we look to the future, I went into probably too much detail on our unfunded liability. I don't need to mention that again. But we do have an ongoing need for infrastructure funding. We currently budget $2.8 million a year as our kind of base minimum. And so the 6 million will go a long way towards providing additional funding. But we do still not have an ongoing dedicated revenue source to improve our infrastructure. Sales tax, even though we've had very good performance the last couple of years, it is very sensitive to changes in the economy, as opposed to, say, cities that rely on property tax. That tends to drop off very slowly in an economic downturn. Sales tax can really fall off of a cliff. So while we are enjoying the good times, we realize the negative times may not be that far out. And when we look at the economic trends and with what's happening with interest rates, the yield curve, the expectation is that there is going to be a recession in the near future. And so we're certainly want to put ourselves in a good position to be prepared for that. And then just last thing on sales tax also is being, aside from being subject to the changes in the economy, we're also faced with potential reforms that are being proposed at the state level that will change how sales tax is allocated. And there's a lot of different proposals, but essentially all of them are negative for the city of Santa Fe Springs. So we continue to push against those, but recognize that certainly as a threat to our sales tax. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions? Oh, go ahead.
Well, it's more of a comment. I know the unfunded liability is a big thing for our city, and to make sure that we keep up with our pensions and making sure we're at a level to where we're not getting so far behind where it hurts us in the future. But this is a responsibility that we're going to have for the duration of our city. I would like to see, of the 8 million, I would like to take 3 out and put it to our pool, because this is one-time monies that we can use now for the future of our infrastructure and things like that. We have a lot of things that we need to fix in the city. And if it ever becomes that we do need the money, we have other monies, other funds and reserves that we can utilize it for the unfunded liability. But I would like to see 3 million put to the pool and maybe help get a match from, our assembly or our state.
We're already
senators.
looking into the match and
Yeah.
it's 3 million. So we do need to match that. So that's what's going to have to happen.
So I would say we take the 3 million off of the unfunded liability and put it into a earmark it for the pool. But
we're just giving a directive. So I mean, yeah, so what Sarno's saying, Councilmember Sarno's saying is correct. We all got phone call about matching. So I mean, and when we pay off the 8 million, I mean, we're probably not going to see really much going for the difference from 8 and 5 when it comes into the unfunded liability. I mean, I think too, if, you know, Travis, next time, when it comes to the unfunded liability, if you can have more information, different pie charts, just so people can understand what we're really paying down and the interest and stuff like that, that's really not going to affect. So I'm in agreement of taking the 3 million from there.
Okay, so that is the directive.
We need a motion.
All right.
Move. Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So ordered.
So for clarification, what I heard was that the council acted to accept the recommendation, except to change the 8 million to 5 million and put 3 million in a fund for the pool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item number 14, city managers and executive team reports. I would like to call upon city manager Ray Cruz.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'd like to first bring up Jesse Sierra, Water Utility Service Manager, to give his report.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council. I have 2 items to report on tonight. The first was in large part thanks to council that sits on the IJPA Policy Board. So the first item we had, there was the installation of the I-5 freeway shields on Florence Avenue. 6 of them were installed, so these are going to be a great help to motorists. This is what they look like. So again, a big thank you to council that assisted in this and moving forward. I'm sure the motorists on Florence Avenue will thank you as well. The second item I have to report on are the Civic Center Plaza lights. So these were replaced this past weekend. In addition to updating these plaza lights, wayfinding signs were installed. And these will help pedestrians and visitors to the Civic Center find their way around. And that concludes my report.
I have a question. And with regards to the shield on the 5 freeway, is there any way like on Los Nietos Road where it's Los Nietos and Pioneer, where maybe we could put a shield also on the ground for the trucks, saying no trucks going through this passage?
That's a good question. I will bring that up with the director, Noe. But I'm sure it's something we could find some type of solution.
Yeah, because it may be, because I know the signage, we have small signage, but if you go in Cerritos, they have lighted signage, and I know I've been asking Noe about that. So I'm just thinking if the shield, I mean, it's a big shield and it looks really well. I mean, it looks great there. So I'm just thinking, I mean, on Pioneer, I mean, you got, living there, you always see trucks going through Pioneer on their way to Oronde, and it's always constantly just rattling a lot of those houses. And of course, it does almost cause for extra accidents. So, I mean, anything we can do to help out that, that area where truckers understand that they can't go through that area. So anything that puts it on the ground, bigger signage will actually help out with less traffic flow or lessen traffic flow.
Yes, definitely something we could look into, and we will update council on this.
Okay, thank you, Jesse. Now I'd like to bring up Director.
It's small. It's small.
Go ahead, Councilmember.
So if you flip this, your screen upside down, it's probably about that big or probably smaller. So it's small.
Okay, well, we'll pursue that and bring it back to council what the options are. So would Jesse complete there? I'd like to bring up Wayne Morale, Director of Planning.
Yes, good evening, Madam Mayor, Council, audience. Lately, we've been talking a lot about grants, and while it may not seem that some of the departments are getting grants or engaging with consultants to get grants, I would just like to point this out. to you that we've been working with JWA Urban Consultants for quite a while, and these are some of the grants that in planning we've been able to secure through JWA. And it isn't something that we announce frequently, but we did get 333,000 to update our general plan, 160,000 for our housing mixed-use overlay, 65,000 for housing element, 210,000 to complete objective design standards, and 220,000 to complete our ADU manual, and the ensuing presentation by Jimmy Wong will touch on the last item. But in total, we've gotten 988,000, 670,000 in grants. So again, we do not, I guess, go out there and announce it, but we are getting grants for several of our projects. I just wanted you to be aware of that. Okay. And now I would like to call on Jimmy Wong for the other part of the presentation. Thank you.
Evening. So I'm just giving an update for our Santa Fe Spring Accessory Dwelling Unit or ADU project that the funding and the management was from SCAG, Southern California Associate of Government. The fund was from the California Department of Housing and Community Development through a regional early action program. So the project consultant is Woodson Associate, working closely with city staff on this project. Such little background on the benefit of ADU. It provides new housing unit to the city. 76% of the housing household in Santa Fe Spring live in a home that was built prior to 1980, and also provide private space for family member. 76% of the household in Santa Fe Spring live in a home that are 2 or 3 bedroom. And it also help with housing cost burden since ADU rent is lower than a traditional dwelling unit. So in Santa Fe Spring, over 2 in 5 household is considered in housing cost burden, which means they pay more than 30% of their monthly income on housing. So the update on the program, the city staff along with Woodson Associate hosted 2 ADU workshop on June 23rd and July 6th. And in addition to that, staff have conducted an ADU survey to better improve our process. With the workshop and the survey, we are planning to improve our ADU homepage. Currently, our ADU homepage has basic information on ADU, some FAQ related to ADU, and also information for grant program from Cal HFA. So, do you think? Yeah. Oh, no, the video, sorry. Yeah. So this is just a screenshot of our new homepage. It provides a lot of information related to ADU and grant information that was on everyone's mind. So if anyone have any question or want more information on ADU, you can go to our website and obviously contact our city staff. So some upcoming developable is we go create a Santa Fe Spring ADU cost calculator that will provide estimate cost, fee, and potential rent for a new ADU construction. So it gives a resident a better understanding if they can afford it and if it's worth the time to construct an ADU. In addition to that, we will also provide a pre-approved ADU construction plan, which is free. So it will save costs on the construction plan and also save time for the architect to design the ADU. Lastly, we will also update our ADU zoning ordinance. There are 2 new bills that was passed recently that will take effect next year, the AB 221 and SB 897. And city staff is preparing to update our zoning code to in compliance with those 2 bills. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Jimmy, are there any questions? If not, thank you very much.
Thank you, Wayne and Jimmy. Now I'd like to bring up Dino Torres, Director of Police Services.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. On Thursday, November 10th, we had emergency management training for all city staff. This is the first of several trainings. So we hope to be training everyone on the incident command system, the National Incident Management System, NIMS, National Response Framework, and the Standard Emergency Management System. And those are trainings that are required by the state and also the federal level. So it teaches employees how to manage an incident command system and again, respond to a major incident and communicate both at the county level, state level, and federal level. Thank you.
Thank you, Dino. Now I'd like to bring up Chief Hayward from Fire Rescue.
Thanks. Very good evening, Madam Mayor and Council and everybody in the audience. If I could get the first slide. I wasn't able to report on this last meeting, so I just wanted to kind of close out the month of October. That was a Breast Cancer Awareness Month, where we usually adorn our apparatus with pink ribbons, flags. We usually design our T-shirts, and we do a lot of fundraising for organizations that are out there. We were very well received by the community. The picture in the center is from last year. Just wanted to report tonight that the firefighters are going to be contributing this year $1,000 to the Patricia L. Sheffley Breast Health Center at PIH. And so that closes out October for us. Next slide, please. Which moves us into the fun time of the year for a lot of firefighters and everybody in the community, Movember. The fire service has really adopted this. It's national within the fire service, but more communities are getting involved with it. The idea is to grow out your mustache in Movember. And what that does is it's pointing out awareness to men's health issues, prostate cancer, I can't even say the word, testicular cancer, and bringing awareness to a lot of men's other issues like suicide in general. And so you'll see our guys sporting some pretty funky mustaches. Right now, the department won't let me do one until I can spell the word mustache. So next slide. On November 9th, Rio Hondo College and the Department of Fire and Rescue co-hosted a career day for Santa Fe High School. 50 plus students were bussed over from Santa Fe High. And the intent of the program was to expose a lot of these students to what the fire service is, what kind of careers are available in that and EMS. The individuals were brought over to the Fire Academy in the morning. They got to see a lot of static displays. They got to see some of the Fire Academy students in progress while they're there. They're 14 weeks into a 17-week program right now. And so they're running very, very smoothly. There were some other static displays and demonstrations. LA County Heavy Rescue and Urban Search and Rescue 103s was there. They're over in Pico. So they came down and they set up a display and they answered a lot of questions for the students. And then if you go to the next slide, they crossed over onto our side of the property. After seeing in the upper right, Falk Ambulance, or some people know them as CARE Ambulance, they had representatives and units there so that they could talk about EMS delivery models, careers in EMS, and how even this job as an ambulance attendant or an EMT in the state, you can work in hospitals, you can work in transport, and also all of the firefighters in the state of California are EMTs at a minimum. And so there's a lot of opportunities within that field. Over on our side, we actually had our paramedics. We highlighted a lot of our apparatus and equipment that you see on the left. We had a display with a lot of our medical equipment. I had our 2 paramedics on duty there answering questions for everybody. And then we actually had explorers that were from Santa Fe High School telling the kids about what the Explorer program is, how it transitions into being maybe a fire cadet at the academy, and ultimately possibly an auxiliary firefighter with our department, and ultimately get hired, if not in our department, somewhere in the fire service. The lower right at the very end, just before they had lunch, we had a panel of new firefighters, seasoned firefighters, and senior firefighters. And they had a panel discussion that was supposed to be about 5 to 10 minutes, and it went for 45 minutes. These kids fired off questions that were unbelievable. It was a very, very interesting and exciting time for them. And so it was great to see the questions, great to see the students, and great to see the interest. And so I think we're in a good spot with Santa Fe High School at this point for their career day. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Chief. Now I'd like to bring up our Director of Finance, Travis Hickey.
Thanks, Ray. Good evening again. Just one item to report for the council. Our Technology Services Department will be implementing some upgrades to our network, replacing our core switch. And so this is our, basically central piece of equipment that everything related to our technology will have to be shut down for a short period of time. We're looking at starting around 5:30 in the evening on Friday, December 2nd. We hope to complete it by Saturday, by Sunday if necessary. So it's why we showed December 2nd to the 4th. But I wanted to bring it to the council's attention and the community because this will result in a disconnection of our city phone service for a period of time. We will work to keep that a minimum, but there will be a disruption in the phone service, as well as all of our network features, including email, the internet, the website, access to ActiveNet and their Q Drive. So again, we do hope to minimize those disruptions, but we do expect to have some disruptions over the time period of December 2nd to the 4th. We will be working with the city manager's office to get that out on social media. We're going to put flyers at the city facilities, send out email reminders and post on our message boards just to get the word out to the public. So if they do call over that time period and don't get a response, they'll know why. So some of the things that won't be affected is at the library, their public computers, their Wi-Fi access, and also the tech lab for seniors at the Willie Gordon Learning Center over at GVNC. Those are kind of separate from our network and won't be affected by the upgrade. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. And now I'd like to bring up Maricela Balderas, our Director of Community Services.
Thank you, Ray. I have a couple of reports to share with you this evening. First, I want to start. It's time to spread our Christmas cheer in Santa Fe Springs. So our community is invited to attend the annual tree lighting ceremony, which will be held on Saturday, December 3rd at Town Center Plaza. The event is going to consist of pictures with Santa, $2 per photo, food vendors, a snow sled area, free hot chocolate, cookies, and coffee, artisan vendors, and local entertainment from our schools. Our kids also have the opportunity to write their letter to Santa and create a holiday craft. So we encourage the community to visit www.sfsrec.org for more info. Next, our Santa float is going to be making its debut at the tree lighting ceremony. The float's going to be making stops at various locations Monday through Friday, beginning Monday, December 5th through Friday, December 16th. Pictures with Santa will be sold at $2 per photo. Residents will also be able to download their pictures for free from a third-party website at no charge. Additionally, the city is currently accepting registration for an opportunity drawing to win a visit with Santa. The drawing will be held on Monday, November the 28th at 3 p.m. via Zoom. The Santa's Home Visit Program will visit homes for those that won the raffle on Saturday, December 10th and December 17th. We're also now accepting pre-registration for our annual Neighborly Elf Basket program. The registration deadline is Friday, December the 9th. The event will be held on Saturday, December 17th from 9 to 11 a.m. For more information or to register, families or individuals can contact the Gus Velasco Neighborhood Center. Also, the library is going to be hosting its next First Friday event on December 2nd at 7 p.m. The Alley Cats are going to perform doo-wop versions of holiday favorite songs. There will be holiday refreshments that are going to be served and admission is free. And then lastly, I just want to wish our community and everyone a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Maricela. And Madam Mayor, that ends our executive team reports.
Thank you. And now we're moving on to item number 15, council comments. We'll start off with Councilmember Martin.
Just want to congratulate Mr. and Mrs. Arias. 60 years is a long time. Taking that information, I'm barely going to make it 1 year. So all the information you told me, I'll make sure I listen. So thank you so much. Battalion Chief Shields, thank you so much for everything that you've done. You are part of the family. So thank you for having so much pride. Aviv, we see you. Welcome. Nice seeing you. I would like a request to put something on the agenda if possible. We do have a couple of men that come every week about the basin, the central basin, all that. Could we maybe have like a report or something? Because they come every week and talk about it. Could maybe Noe or Jessica, could you relay that to Noe? Maybe we could put on the agenda some report so we know what, every week they're coming. Maybe they could put it on the agenda so we can have an update or what exactly is going on with all that. Because I don't think our residents know really what's going on. We just have the two gentlemen. I'll talk to Noe about it, but.
Councilmember Martin, Mayor and Council, I was just going to offer that they come and they talk about Central Basin business. It's not an agenda item and hasn't been because it's not city business. But we allow them to speak.
But we can't do anything. I mean.
We can discuss it with the Public Works Director and he could possibly do a quick report.
Yeah,
It may not be an agenda item because it's not city business.
but just a report or something.
We'll take that direction.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. Please thank our men in uniform. We'll be at home eating, but they'll be working out there, not away from their family. So thank you. Please let all of fire police know that we appreciate what they're doing, working on the holiday. So thank you.
All right, next we have Councilmember Mora.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. And again, congratulations, 60 years, that's awesome. So I just want to express my congratulations to you. And also, Battalion Chief Chris, congratulations to you as well. The Chamber of Commerce is alive and well. They just opened up, had a red ribbon cutting for a T1 LED lighting. They do LED lightings throughout cities for homes and businesses, and they're just right up the street. So I'm very happy to have them here in our city. Chamber of Commerce event today, between the school and the chamber and our city, they always put out the best mentor programs. They had a Meet the Experts panels today, and our very own Gus was on one of the expert panels today, telling how he got to where he's at, his education, and also obstacles that these different experts face as they go through their career. Ultimately, I just wanted to, wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. Thank you all for being here and have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have Councilmember Sarno.
Thank you. First, congratulations to the RSs. 60 years is, you don't hear that anymore from people. And I think it's a tribute to what love really is for you guys, because for people to be together 60 years, you guys have went through your ups and downs, I'm sure, but you stuck together because you love each other. And I would wish the younger generation would have that same love that you guys had when you got married. So congratulations to both of you. Chief Shields, congratulations and welcome to more headaches and responsibilities, sir, but I know you'll do well. So the library, I was going to ask if we can maybe have something to find out if we're going to get another concession stand inside the library at any time soon. Are we looking or do?
So we've reached out to several in the last year. We reached out to Tierra Mia and some of the local, and we have not had any interest. So one of the things we're doing is we're looking at repurposing that area into a passport service center and provide that service to the community.
Maybe developing something for like the community that people do cook, bake, and do things. And maybe we can have some of our own residents doing it legally, put something in there so they can express what they do and show their talents for our community. I think that would be a nice thing. It doesn't have to be every day, but maybe once a week or something, we can have different talents of different people that cook and show off their talents. So
And explore
just
that, yes.
something. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and it will not be a healthy one. It'll be no, but happy Thanksgiving and have a good week.
Thank you. Now we have Mayor Pro Tem Zamora.
I also want to congratulate Mary and Enrique Arias, 60-year anniversary. It's a hallmark story right there. The fact that, I watch these hallmarks with my little brother and, it's something that is just peaceful. Then you meet you guys and it is, it's a declaration, like Jay said, of your love and, your love and affection. And I guess having, when you guys first met, there was no cell phones. So I know that helps a great deal in any love story. So also congratulate to our new battalion chief, Christopher Shields. Thank you, sir. Thank you for, your service and your continued service and, declaring that you're going to be going over 5 years. I think it helps everybody else out, knowing their role and that you're going to be here serving, alongside. And, it just shows, the fact that, you're being touched just to, the tribute of the emotions, you really care, and thank you. And I know the community really cares about you guys and your service, and also to our Whittier PD and our public safety department, all of you guys that put yourselves in harm's way to help us out and do the things that you guys are supposed to do. Also, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. This is a time of giving, and we know sometimes there are people that don't have anything. So it's always good to share, and and sometimes just invite people to your house. You might have an empty seat or a couple places in your home to invite people, because sometimes when it comes to mental health, it's a difficult situation where we don't want people to be alone. So it's always inviting to have a big family or individuals just come and share that with us. I know in our family, that's something we do. We always invite different people. So other than that, happy Thanksgiving once again, and take care, and God bless.
Thank you. And I also want to say everything that they said. And I want to say, last week we went to Los Nietos Middle School for esports. It's like gaming. John and I went over there, but it's not gaming, it's education for our children, 8th graders. And we had our Senator Bob Archuleta there, and it was very educational, lots of fun. And I'm so excited for the youth in our community. It's the first one in our community. So they showed us the room. It was a blue room. It was just very, very nice. And I want to thank our Councilmember Mora for his attendance there. And also thank you, Councilmember Mora, we went to the Mentor Meet the Expert today. We're both mentors, and it was just an amazing event. Gus, you did such a great job. I didn't know all of that, all this, the twists and turns to your journey to get where you're at, but we're glad that you're here with us because you do such a great job. And all of the other speakers that were there with us today too. And also I would like to congratulate our Battalion Chief Shields. So I saw that on the city manager's report when I read that. So I was very happy to see you. And our Whittier PD, I want to thank you so much for giving us updates about what's going on in our community. Whether it's 11, 12, 2 in the morning, you give us those and we appreciate them. Please continue to do that. I wanted to also say to Mary Arias, I know I already gave my presentation to you, but I'm so proud of you and Enrique and everything that you do for our community. Mary Arias works very hard. And like I said, she's been in the Women's Club for 22 years. She and I have been on many committees together, and she's brought thousands of dollars into the Women's Club, and we give that back to the youth in our community with scholarships, and we give it back to anything that has to do with community. We give that money right back. We fundraise, bring it in, give it back. And that's just something that she's always been a part of. And I know that her family are very proud of their mother and her grandmother. So I would be really proud of you if you were my mother. So thank you so much. And I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and God bless you all. Thank you. And with that, we will, I'm sorry. We are going to go into closed sessions for items number 16, 17, and 18. City Attorney?
No.
No?
Madam Mayor, I'll go ahead and read the titles.
Please do.
Okay, thank you. We'll be going in on two items, public employment, Government Code Section 54957B1, title City Manager Evaluation and Conference with Labor Negotiators, Government Code Section 54957.6, Agency Designated Representatives, Raymond R. Cruz, Travis Hickey, Employee Organizations, Santa Fe Springs City Employee Association, Santa Fe Springs Firefighters Association, and Santa Fe Springs Executive Management and Confidential Employee Association. closed session. I just want to report out of closed session that direction was given and no reportable action was taken.
Meeting is adjourned.
There we go.